Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. Imagine a superhero who's the last of an ancient race of mythical fox spirits, hunted nearly to extinction, now protecting the very humans who once feared her kind. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Marvel's White Fox and the Korean Kumiho mythology that inspired her. You'll discover how ancient folklore transformed into modern superhero storytelling and why this character represents something truly unique in comics.
And what's really interesting is that this isn't just another superhero origin story. The Kumiho mythology goes back centuries in Korean culture.
Oh, really? Tell me more about these Kumiho. What makes them different from other mythological creatures?
Well, in traditional Korean folklore, Kumiho were actually quite feared. They were shape-shifting nine-tailed foxes known for seducing men to tear out their hearts. Pretty different from our modern superhero, right?
Wait, that's intense. So how did we get from heart-eating fox spirits to a Marvel superhero?
That's where Ami Han's story gets really interesting. According to the comics, her grandmother was a Kumiho who fell in love with a human man who helped her discover her humanity. It's a beautiful twist on the traditional mythology.
You know, it's fascinating how Marvel took this ancient mythology and gave it such a modern spin.
Exactly. And what's particularly interesting is that in Korean mythology, foxes were often seen as adversaries to dragons, which were considered sacred in Buddhist tradition.
That's such a cool detail. Speaking of details, can you tell us about White Fox's actual debut in Marvel Comics?
Sure. Ami Han first appeared in Avengers Electric Reign #1 in October 2014. She was actually created for a Marvel-licensed webtoon produced by Disney Korea.
A webtoon? That's not the usual way Marvel characters are introduced.
Right, and she became so popular that Marvel's editor-in-chief Chester Bohr-Cebulski decided to bring her into the main Marvel universe. She's now part of several major teams.
What teams is she part of?
She's a member of the Agents of Atlas, Tiger Division, and she's even worked with the Avengers. But her main role is as director of South Korea's National Intelligence Service's Superhuman Division.
That's quite a resume. Let's talk about her powers. What can White Fox do?
She has some pretty impressive abilities. Thanks to her Kumiho physiology, she has superhuman strength, speed, and agility. She can also communicate with animals, especially white foxes.
Can she transform like the mythological Kumiho?
Yes, she can actually shapeshift partially or fully into a giant nine-tailed fox. Each tail supposedly has unique powers that haven't been fully revealed yet.
You know, the number 9 seems significant here. Is there a reason for 9 tails specifically?
In Korean mythology, the number 9 is considered highly significant. It represents the completion of a cycle and the highest level of achievement.
That adds such interesting depth to the character. But it wasn't always easy for her, was it?
No, it wasn't. Writer Alyssa Wong put it really well when she said that Ami Han grew up without a Kumiho community, surrounded by stories about how her kind was evil and heartless.
That must have been incredibly isolating.
Absolutely. She witnessed her mother being killed by Samjokgu, these three-legged dogs that hunted Kumiho to near extinction. She had to keep her true nature hidden while living with her aunt and uncle.
So how did she end up becoming a hero?
It started when she was in high school. Her friend was kidnapped by a dangerous Seoul gang, and Ami used her abilities to save her. That caught the attention of the National Intelligence Service.
That's quite a turning point, using powers that traditionally were feared to help others instead.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that this represents a complete inversion of the traditional Kumiho narrative. Instead of being a threat to humans, she's their protector.
Has the character changed much since her introduction?
She's actually had quite a journey through Marvel Comics. From her debut in 2014, she's appeared in numerous series, including Contest of Champions, Totally Awesome Hulk, and even got her own solo comics.
Her own solo comics? How did those do?
Pretty well. Her first solo comic, Future Fight First's White Fox, was the 147th best-selling comic in October 2019, and her second one, Death of Doctor Strange, White Fox, ranked 124th in December 2021.
That's impressive for a relatively new character.
And what's really significant is how she represents a bridge between traditional Korean mythology and modern superhero storytelling.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, in traditional Korean myths, foxes were often portrayed as deceptive and malevolent beings. They were even seen as threats to dragons, which were considered sacred in Korean Buddhism.
But White Fox completely turns that around, doesn't she?
Exactly. She takes these traditionally feared abilities and uses them for good, while still dealing with the cultural baggage and prejudices against her kind.
It's almost like a metaphor for overcoming cultural stereotypes.
That's a great observation. And it's particularly relevant given that she's one of the few Korean superheroes in mainstream Western comics.
Speaking of which, how has she been received by readers?
Very well, actually. She's become popular enough to join major Marvel teams and get multiple solo stories, which is quite remarkable for a character that started in a Korean webtoon.
That's fascinating. You mentioned her powers earlier. Can you tell us more about her abilities?
Sure. Besides her shape-shifting and enhanced physical abilities, she can also use hypnosis and absorb life force energy. Plus, she never tires and has mystical connections to her ancestors.
Those are some serious powers. How does she compare to other Marvel heroes?
She's quite unique. Her combination of mythological powers and spy training makes her versatile. She's both a skilled hand-to-hand combatant and a supernatural powerhouse.
It's interesting how they balanced the supernatural elements with more grounded abilities.
Yes, and that balance reflects her character's journey, finding harmony between her mythological heritage and her modern role as a superhero.
Let's talk about her impact on representation in comics.
She's really broken new ground. White Fox isn't just a Korean character, she's deeply rooted in Korean mythology and culture, while still fitting seamlessly into the Marvel Universe.
That must resonate with a lot of readers.
Absolutely. Especially since she deals with themes of cultural identity and belonging that many people can relate to, regardless of their background.
Has her success opened doors for other culturally specific characters?
It seems so. She's part of a larger trend of Marvel incorporating more diverse mythologies and cultural backgrounds into their universe.
That's really encouraging to hear.
And what's particularly interesting is how she maintains her cultural identity while working with international teams like the Avengers.
It sounds like she's really carved out her own unique place in the Marvel Universe.
She has, and she's done it while staying true to both her mythological origins and her modern superhero role.
What do you think makes her story so compelling?
I think it's how she embodies transformation, not just physical transformation, but the transformation of cultural narratives. She takes something feared and turns it into something heroic.
That's really powerful.
And it shows how mythology can evolve and remain relevant in modern storytelling.
Do you think we'll see more of White Fox in the future?
Given her growing popularity and unique position in the Marvel Universe, I'd say it's very likely we'll see more of her stories being told.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into White Fox and Korean mythology. It's amazing how a character can bridge ancient folklore and modern superhero stories while tackling themes of identity and acceptance.
And she shows us that sometimes the most powerful transformations aren't just about changing shape, they're about changing perspectives.
Thanks for joining us on Copilot Podcasts. Remember, even the most feared creatures in mythology can become the heroes we need. It's all about how we tell their story.